So, Ashley, call this to order. Do you mind doing a roll call for us?
Peter Dillingham.
Here.
Michael Brown. Here. Kendra Wesson. Randy Gilbert.
Here.
Shaylin Hanning. Edward Hillary.
Here.
Rob Seaman.
Here.
Oh, Superintendent Walters.
Here. And so, Ashley, we do have a quorum,
Yes.
correct? And was the agenda posted in accordance with the Open Meetings Act?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, guys, if you would, please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. And open the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, the Oklahoma flag salute. I salute the flag of the state of Oklahoma. Its symbols of peace unite all people. Now, if you would, join me in a moment of silence. Thank you, everyone. We're going to start with my opening comments are going to be very brief. No, Shaylin, we just went ahead and got started here. We knew that you were on, and Kendra's about to be here in just a second as well. I wanted to give you all an update. Yesterday, we had our first round of Senate, I don't know what they're calling them. They're like the follow-up budget meetings. They're going through a new process where they're doing multiple budget hearings. And so it was the first time that we've presented our budget. They brought myself, Director Haken back in to go back over some additional questions. And I wanted to commend Director Haken. I thought he did an excellent job of explaining our budget, explaining how we came to our budget recommendations. I thought he did a great job of representing this board and walking through how CareerTech will be more successful and offer more of what we're doing for more students, and why and he did a great job of explaining. He didn't come back and ask for funds that he asked for one time last year. And I had senators texting and calling me last night that said that they really appreciated his presentation. So I wanted to just give you all an update. I don't know if he's going to say anything about it, but I thought he handled himself very well, and I thought he represented our board very, very well on the decisions that went into our budget request from the legislature. And that's really that was my comments that I wanted to mention to you all, and I'll turn it over to Director Haken.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Superintendent, and thank you, board members, for being here. I know it's awesome that all are going to be in attendance. I know Kendra will be here real soon. I want to update you on just a few things. In case you were not aware, we do have a Secretary of Education now, Nellie Sanders. Met with her right after coming on, and we will be meeting at a technology center very soon to talk about her plans and kind of what she wants to do as our new secretary. So I wanted to make sure you knew that. If you haven't heard about our revamping of the Connect to Business platform, which is for work-based learning in conjunction with the businesses in Oklahoma. Shauna Nord was on News 6, right, Russell? This morning, so talking about that. Also, we'll tell you just some updates around the legislative session. Since that's going now, we are working toward cooperating with the Department of Commerce more on apprenticeships and how can we do a better job with that. That's not new to you. I've been talking about that for a while, but we are working on how do we help facilitate more registered apprenticeships along with what we're doing that are unregistered. We did have the Senate budget hearing, and I will let you know there was several questions about, did the board approve your budget? Do they know that what you're asking for? And I assured them that yes, we do. And we bring that through when Lisa goes through our budget, and then we go through the request that you guys are aware of what's going on. So that was one of the questions that was over and over reiterated, that you guys know that what we're doing. So I hope that you do, and if you have questions along the way, please ask. A couple of other things. We have two bills that we're watching really close, and I want to make sure you're aware of those. We have a request bill from Representative Baker, or to Representative Baker, on teacher certification. Rob and I talked about this quite a while, a few months ago, about how can we recruit teachers that may be changing industries, or maybe they're retiring or looking for the next thing. Well, a hindrance to that has always been they would have to continue education. Even though they may have worked in the industry 25, 30 years, they would need to work toward an associate's degree or continue education per the rules that are in place now. So we have a bill that would do away with that, that would allow them to be a workplace specialist and work in technology centers exclusively, so that if they're an A&P mechanic and they're retiring from that, now they wouldn't have to continue education. They know that industry, and they could come into a tech school and be an instructor. So working on a way that we can be exclusive and industry related. The other is graduation requirements that we are diligently working in cooperation with all other education entities. So those are the two big ones, and we're in session, so I wanted you to be updated on those things. So if there's no questions, that's what I have. And we'll talk more later on an agenda item about our goals.
Any questions for the director there on those comments?
One thing, I might add, I think last week sometime Director Aiken came to the Workforce Commission and made with the help of Ashley, made a very good presentation. There were some very good questions we thought that were asked, and so that's a new group that's seemed to really appreciate the presentation, very learning, very experienced. So
Yeah.
thank you for that, Director
I
Aiken.
appreciate that.
That was a very good job.
It was a great group. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I'm going to move on to agenda item 1.5 there. Discussion and possible action on the minutes of the January 18th regular meeting. Do we have any discussion or a motion on those minutes?
I move for approval.
We have a motion and a second. Ashley, do you mind calling roll for me?
Yes. Mr. Seaman?
Yes.
Mr. Hillary?
Yes.
Ms. Hanning?
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes.
Ms. Wesson?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Dillingham?
Yes.
Superintendent Walters?
Yes. Motion passes. Next, we have some recognitions and presentations. I'm going to call up Mr. Russell Ray to talk about a proclamation from the governor.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's good to see everybody. February is by far our favorite month of the year at CareerTech. It really gives us a chance to kind of let our hair down and tell the great story of Oklahoma CareerTech. For us, it's CareerTech month every single month. We spend year-round telling the story of CareerTech in a variety of ways on a wide range of platforms. A copy of the proclamation is in your packet. You can look that over. To celebrate and commemorate CareerTech Month, the agency and our statewide marketing group get together and we create a long list of social media posts and content. And so far we've made more than 100 posts, and that's just within 12 days. More than 100 posts on a wide range of CareerTech programs and topics. So far, we've had more than 182,000 impressions, and more than 10,000 people have engaged with our social media posts just this month so far. And again, that's within the first 12 days of CareerTech Month. Our topics are wide-ranging. They include our tech center programs, business and industry programs, STEM, health careers, OK Career Guide, CTSOs, as Brent mentioned, our brand-new and improved Connect to Business platform, Carl Perkins, skills centers, and much, much more. We're only halfway through CareerTech Month, but the social media engagement has been great over the first 12 days of the month. In just the first 12 days, we've added more than 500 followers to our social media channels. So my guess, by the time we're said and done with CareerTech Month, we should have added more than 1,000 social media followers to our social media channels. Right now, we have nearly 17,000 social media followers, and that is up from 10,180 social media followers in August of 2020. So that's a 66.5% increase in just 3.5 years. And so, like I said, we spend the whole year generating a lot of content about the story of CareerTech, and you have to generate a lot of content and post a lot of new, fresh content to get that kind of growth. At this time, I'd like to kind of share a sample of the content that we've been showing our viewers on our social media channels. We did do a two-part series on Oklahoma's burgeoning film industry recently and how tech centers are responding to meet the growing demand for those kinds of jobs. And so, Braden, if you can start that video. Again, this is the second of that two-part series. So let's do it.
So if you've enjoyed watching movies, now you can work in them. And you can work in them staying amongst your friends and your family, and you can earn really good money. No longer is that a pipe dream of you have to go to Hollywood, because Hollywood has come to Oklahoma.
So CareerTech centers across the state have worked with industry partners located here in Oklahoma to find out what their needs are. Where are those jobs that they are not able to fill, so that we can come in and develop training programs, curriculum, and give opportunities for Oklahomans to get to work in this growing industry.
I have been in the industry for just over 12 years and got hooked up with Meridian Tech just last year with Kara Adney and the amazing staff that they have here. I've been privileged enough to teach the Intro to Film class, as well as now the Intro to Screenwriting, Film Festival Submission and Strategy, and a brand new class as well with how to make a short film. Trying to offer some more classes. Hopefully they're dynamic. It's been an amazing experience. They're so giving, they're honestly so supportive, and they just try to really help the infrastructure here in Oklahoma grow, which is, in my opinion, needed and amazing.
The more people you meet, the more opportunities you have. You keep seeing the same people over and over, even though you're working on different films or different, projects. Well, some people are, famous, some are relatively famous, and some are not at all, but you love working with them anyway.
Through these classes, we're not only making connections with the different people that are interested in the field that come into it, but with those that are instructing the courses, those that are setting up the courses, and those that are making the contacts to bring the filming industry into Oklahoma more and more all the time.
Wide shot, over the shoulder, close up. And so if you guys want to take a minute, you can sketch out your shots and kind of how you want to do it, and then we'll jump in.
Action. I always received the Gordon Cooper catalog at home, and then when I saw the cinematography, I was like, oh, this looks interesting, but it was something totally new for me. Before, I was just watching movies for fun, and now I can watch it and then think about the light, and then I can see it differently.
I think this is a good ground zero kind of proving ground and testing ground for people to see if they really want to get into the film industry, if they really want to learn some of the mechanics and the craft behind filmmaking and screenwriting and cinematography and all the different aspects. And they will definitely have the skills after going through these initial programs to take the next step and go more into the industry, or they can just keep it kind of as a sideline, something they enjoy, and they can work on their own films and kind of go either direction with it. But it is a good proving ground, I think, to see if this is something that people would like to pursue.
Out of almost every single class that we have offered, the instructor has hired at least one student from that course. So when you're taking one of these courses from someone in the film industry, it is not only that you are learning the skills for that role, you're also giving that instructor, AKA the person who does the hiring on the film set, an opportunity to see you at work. And so it's a dual purpose and mutually beneficial opportunity for both our instructors as well as our students.
Very small sample of what people are seeing on our social media channels right now.
I was 17 years old when I took over my family's small farm. Today, we farm.
We generate a lot of video content. My background is in print, but I know the future is video, and we have 2 full-time videographers who do a great job. That piece was produced and edited by a talented person on my staff, Tony Croft. And we're doing more stories like that. We're actually going to go out and do a video story on the impact of these recent annexations we've had. I think we've had 4 annexations in the last 4 years. The most recent, Beaver County, which is huge. And we're going to go out and tell that story and see how that's impacting schools in K through 12 and those tech centers. I mentioned that we added more than 500 followers to our social media channels so far in the first 12 days. And to me, that's really an indicator that the work we're doing to increase CareerTech awareness is working. It's also, to me, an indicator that the demand for career readiness programs in middle schools, high schools, and tech centers is on the rise. So we're really excited about the results we're seeing. Clearly, there's great potential for growth for CareerTech, and there is a demand there. And I do think that CareerTech Month and the work that we're doing in marketing is especially important right now with the legislative session now underway. We've got a big ask in front of lawmakers this year, and so we're hoping to reach those decision makers with our social media campaign. You've heard Brent talk about growth and our goals for growth. We want to grow our programs and enrollments, and marketing, I think, is going to be crucial if we want to achieve those goals. You have to have a strong marketing program, and I think we have that here at CareerTech. So with that, if you have any questions, I'd be happy. If not, thank you for your time.
I do want to point something out real quick. So that you guys do an awesome job with these graphics. I've had this texted to me over a dozen times from lawmakers that couldn't believe how far some of the CareerTech stretch out across the state. So they have this great color-coded, I don't know how many times it's been shared on social media, but I've had it texted to me over a dozen times from folks that go, I cannot believe that's how many counties they serve. So that's an awesome. You're doing a great job.
I am so glad you pointed that out. You know, we put out a press release on the Beaver County annexation.
Yes, sir.
Then we did that. It's a very visual thing. It just goes to show people respond a lot more to creative graphics. And I think Kylie Moulton, our social media manager, created that. And a large part of this credit goes to Kylie. She's a social media rock star. It's really a testament. The growth in our social media, 66.5% growth in our social media followers, is a testament to our communications and marketing staff. It takes great content in addition to great social media management for that to happen. So we're churning it out, and we plan on churning out a lot more content. It's all about, to me, productivity, and the key to communication is over-communication and redundancy, believe it or not. So I think we're getting our story out, and we need to get our story out because there is great demand for our services in light of what's happened in recent times. So thank you for your time.
Russell, I would add one comment before you leave. Make sure and tell your staff I was stopped 2 days ago in the hall at the Capitol by Representative Hill, and he said, man, whatever's going on with social media and content is good. So
Hey.
he was excited. It's working. So
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. CTSO Day is February 27th at State Capitol, just so you know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you for that presentation. Appreciate the work you guys are doing. It's obviously having an impact. The next agenda item, we've got Miss Brittany Phillips to talk to us about FCCLA.
All right, good morning, everyone. I'm Brittany Phillips. I am the Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America State Advisor. I'm so honored to be here today. It's National CTE Month, but it's actually National FCCLA Week, so happy FCCLA Week to you all. We brought you a few goodies to celebrate FCCLA Week as well. You have coffee cups, you have Okie, our bison, who's our new little mascot for the year. In your folders, you should have the Connection magazine as well, so you can take a look through that if you'd like to. That will highlight all the different schools in our state association and the great things that they're doing. And just we have a trading pin there for you as well that one of our students designed. I do want to introduce a few of our state officers who will speak eventually here at the end of this presentation. Where's my clicker? Are you clicking for me? Oh, still on my clicker. Thank you so much. Okay, now I've got to point up here, correct? Okay. Perfect. While he's pulling that up, I just want to say thank you so much for all you do. I'm actually a product of Oklahoma CareerTech. I walked into a family consumer sciences classroom at 14 years old, and it completely changed the trajectory of my life. I was a state president for FCCLA. I was a national officer. I was privileged to go to Oklahoma State University and actually pilot the family consumer sciences program and be the first to graduate with it. And now it's a flourishing program there. So thank you for the decisions that you're making that are really impacting the youth of Oklahoma and our adults too. So we do have some amazing state officers with us today. Oh, first of all, we're going to watch our little video of what is FCCLA. So we'll go back. So this is just a promotional video that we have to share with everyone to talk about what is FCCLA. And then we'll see if we can go to the next slide. Go back here. There we go. So some of you might be familiar with the Future Homemakers of America. Who has heard of that before? That was our name. We changed in 1999, so sometimes I have to start off with that. That's who we used to be. We're now FCCLA. We are associated with Family Consumer Sciences classes, formerly Home Economics. And we are so excited this year. Oklahoma has actually achieved the largest membership that we've ever had in our 78 years of being around. So we offer FCCLA membership to middle level students. We do have, Oklahoma City has 5th grade students in Family Consumer Sciences classes, all the way to post-secondary. And I have to brag on Oklahoma again. We are one of the only states in the nation that actually has post-secondary membership. We do so great with this every single year. Our tech centers are amazing. They bring home national championships every year. And we actually have the very first post-secondary state officer in the nation. Elijah Allen is his name. He goes to Great Plains Technology Center in Lawton, and he has done an amazing job. We actually did a presentation over post-secondary FCCLA a few weeks ago at the State Advisor Management Meeting, and we're very, very proud of this growing membership. If I can make it work. I do have 3 state officers with us today. You're going to hear from them here in just a moment. We have Brandon Weibel, who's our state president from Silo High School. We have Tessa Inman, who is our vice president of public relations from Lindsay High School. And we have Ava Jenkins, who is our vice president of membership from Minco High School. We also have Holly Hannon, who is the FCS program manager. So here's just a recap on the year so far and everything that we've done. We started the year with our LEAD conference where we served over 2,300 students in 4 locations. This is designed just for the chapter officers. Those are just the ones that were able to attend. So what's nice is that we have even more chapter officers. Over 10% of our membership is actually in a leadership role. It's really important to me to see these youth holding leadership offices and learning how to be a leader before they leave home and they step out into the communities. Our state officers gave 20 presentations and workshops around the state. We were in Enid, Duncan, Glenpool, and McAllister. So that was a really great conference. Next, we had our Take Aim conference. This is for our new members. We had 272, roughly 6th through 9th grade students there. It's a one-day conference. It's so much fun. It really introduces them into leadership and all the great things that they can do with FCCLA. I'm going to get this clicker figured out before I finish up here. We also offer the Get Set conference. It's very important for our youth to learn how to give presentations. Public speaking is very important. So it's the Speaking Excellence Training, Get Set. It's CTE. We love acronyms. We had 600 attendees at 2 different locations, and that was a great day for us as well. Unite Tour, we just came off the Unite Tour. We visited 18 different high schools across the state in about 3 days. We had over 1,000 members reached. I didn't calculate the miles, but it was a lot of miles because we hit all the different corners of the state. We split into 5 different teams. Our state staff took the state officers, and it's a great way to increase that membership. In fact, through Unite Tour is how we bumped over 20,000 members, so we were really excited for that. Looking forward to 2024, in front of you, you do have an invitation to our state convention. It's a little postcard right there. For the first time in 78 years, we are actually moving to Tulsa, so we're excited to make that move. We would love to have you attend. It is April 11th at the Cox Convention Center. If you're free that day, please let us know. We'd love to have you. Also looking forward ahead, we have our STAR events. These are our competitive events. We have over 60 events that our students can compete in, ranging from cake decorating to early childhood education to teaching strategies, a lot of great things that we offer. So if you're free, March 27th and 28th, if you want to come judge, we'd love to have you. We're always looking for judges out there. This summer, we'll have District Officer Training Camp. We have over 100 district officers. They represent the different areas of Oklahoma, and they are our youth members as well, so we love that leadership training. We'll be in Anadarko for that, so if you feel like going camping, let us know. You can always come out and see that as well. After state convention, our next big thing we'll have is the National Leadership Conference. We'll be in Seattle, Washington for this. We anticipate about 300 to 400 students traveling out there. It's a week-long event. We usually bring home a lot of championships. Last year, we brought home 7 national championships, 3 second place and 7 third place events. We'll also have some students running for a national office position. There are 10 national officers, and we typically have a national officer. We have a pretty strong program here in Oklahoma. In fact, we currently have a national officer, Olivia Beckman. She's the National Vice President of Community Service, and she's from Drummond, Oklahoma. And they've actually had, I think she's number 4, so it just shows that our small schools do great things as well. Summer Leadership Summit is another one of our camps this summer. Our Alumni Association hosts this camp, and it's a great 2-day camp for our students to come and learn about how to be a leader. They get to get outside a little bit, and they get to put their phones up for a little bit too, which is nice, and they just get to be kids for a little bit, and that's a lot of fun. Like I said, our State Leadership Conference is April 11th. We'll have some great keynote speakers, different awards. Our officers and our advisors will be awarded recognition at this time. So if you're able to come on April 11th, let us know. National Leadership Conference in Seattle, which we just got back from. We got to preview that. One other thing that we have added with Oklahoma FCS and FCCLA is we've started the Say Yes to FCS Education Day, where we had over 150 students come to Oklahoma State University. We are trying to recruit the future generation of family and consumer sciences teachers. This is the best profession out there. We have the most fun of anyone, and we make a great impact in our communities. So it's typically in October. We had our very first one, I think it was in February of last year. Then we did one in this past October, and we'll do it again October of this year. But it's a great day if you're ever interested to see what we do. We have some former national FCCLA officers and state officers that are currently in the FCS education program at Oklahoma State. They lead the day. Then the students attending get to tour the campus. They get a free T-shirt. They talk to different admission counselors and talk about how do you fund going to college. And we're really excited. We've actually seen the enrollment go up in the FCS program at OSU. We think it's partly for this day, and so we hope to just grow those numbers as well. And now I want to let our officers speak to you really quickly. So Ava Jenkins, if you want to come on up.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ava Jenkins, and I'm the Vice President of Membership this year. So I'm just going to tell you guys a little bit about how my FCCLA journey has looked so far and kind of share with you how my year as an officer has been so far. So I joined FCCLA my freshman year, which is the first year that my high school offers FCCLA, and I jumped in with both feet. I knew that one day I wanted to excel in the leadership positions that FCCLA has to offer and hopefully become a state officer one day. So everything that Minko offered, I jumped right in and went to all of the events, tried out for all of the positions, competed in the events. It was a lot of fun. But I knew that one day I wanted to be a state officer because Oklahoma FCCLA, the face of us, is our state officers. And I knew that they were so kind and they showed excellent leadership abilities. And overall, they were just great role models for members like me. And I wanted to be in their shoes one day. So after a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication to Oklahoma FCCLA, I was elected last year as the Vice President of Membership on the Oklahoma FCCLA State Executive Council. It has been nothing short of incredible these last few months, and it has just been such a joy to hang out with my team and experience all the ins and outs of what it is to be a state officer. One thing that I'm in charge of is overseeing our members and our annual membership campaign. So this year I created our membership campaign, which is called R Cubed Recruitment, and it has 3 levels of membership that our chapters can reach throughout the school year. And so far it has been really great for our overall state affiliation. When I took over this position, we had 17,300 members roughly, and now I'm really proud to announce that we have over 20,000 members. So it has just been really, really cool to see our membership grow as I'm the Vice President of Membership, and it's just been a really fun ride. So I'm really thankful for FCS Education and FCCLA and the person that it's made me who I am today. So thank you.
Hello and good morning. Thank you guys all so much for having me here today. I'm so excited to be here this CTE month. My name is Tessa Inman from Lindsay High School, and I'm proudly serving as Oklahoma FCCLA's Vice President of Public Relations. So I've been an FCCLA member for 4 years now, and I can confidently say that choosing to take an FCS class is one of the best decisions I've ever made. Through FCS education, I learned more about the world around me, and I learned how to properly take care of myself as well as others. These skills, coupled with the skills I learned through FCCLA, such as public speaking skills, effective communication techniques, and time management skills, promote me to be the best version of myself. FCCLA has taken me from an unsure 8th grader to the confident junior I see myself as today, ready to take on the world. As a state officer, one of my goals this year is to have an impact on others, just as previous state officers had on me. One way I'm doing this is through the implementation of the state content creator team. I was blessed to be on the national content creator team, and so I'm so excited to bring a similar program down to the state level. My hope is that through this program, members will gain confidence in themselves, they'll grow on their journeys, and they'll learn how to effectively promote FCCLA on their personal platforms through social media. That's been a huge goal for myself this year as the Vice President of Public Relations, and I've done my best to produce content that is engaging and informative and also super fun to watch. I'm happy to say that our content has reached a high engagement, and we've reached over 10,000 accounts in the last 30 days alone. That's something I never thought I was capable of, but FCS Education and FCCLA has proved me wrong. FCS Education and FCCLA have shown me I can truly do anything I set my mind to, and that's a mentality I'm excited to carry forward with me into life after graduation. FCS sets us up for success in our families, in our careers, in our community, and I can proudly say that FCCLA has paved the way for success in my future. For that, I'm super grateful.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me today. My name is Brandon Weibel. I'm currently a junior at Silo High School, and I am serving as the state president. My journey within FCS and Family and Consumer Sciences has been a great experience. I remember my first year, I walked in wide-eyed. I'd always loved to cook, but I never knew that there was a curriculum designed just for this. And so I walked in and saw the sewing labs in the kitchen, and I was just in awe. I knew that this was going to be one of the best years of my life. And I was correct. So during my first week of school, we go over everything that FCCLA has to offer, and I did not know that this was aligned with family and consumer sciences education. And so once I learned about this, there was just another layer of something I could express myself in. And so I dove in headfirst to everything that our program has to offer. I remember going to my first leadership conference as a chapter officer. I was very scared, and I just remember seeing a sea of red blazers and red jackets and knowing that I was at home. And from there, I decided to run for a state office. So I've served 2 terms as a state officer. I'm serving as state president this year, but last year I served as the state vice president of development, and this has just been a life-changing experience for me. I have talked to many different sponsors for Oklahoma FCCLA, and even just getting up and speaking in front of people was one of my biggest fears, but now I can say I've conquered it. And as state president this year, one of my big goals was to keep Oklahoma connected, and one thing I've started within our program is restarting our district officer Zoom calls. So we have about 100 district officers, and I get us together every month just to go over everything FCCLA has to offer, and it's been really, really fundamental in keeping the state connected. Do you guys have any questions about FCS or FCCLA for us? Well, thank you so much for having us.
They're awesome. They're fantastic. They're why we do what we do. So this has been a wonderful team. We've had a lot of firsts and a lot of huge milestones hit with this team. So thank you all so much. Do you have any questions about Family Consumer Sciences or FCCLA? Okay. Well, thank you for your time.
Can I ask you about the post-secondary aspect of it? So we're saying folks that are involved in the program that are outside of high school that have come back to do it. Can you
Yes,
kind of tell
sir.
me a little bit? That's fascinating because, yeah, that is a very
Absolutely.
unique.
So most of our post-secondary chapters are in our technology centers. Most of them are our culinary students. We do have our teacher prep and our early care. But Oklahoma State has just started a chapter as well, so we're excited to get them involved. But yeah, it's fun to see the adults come back and they can compete as well and they can hold offices.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Thank you
Well,
very much.
and by the way, you all 3 presented very well. Ava, I just got a text from your superintendent about you. Do you want to guess what he said about you? He said one of the best. So there you go. So that's awesome. Yeah, I knew that would make you nervous because you never know what he's going to say. You all 3 presented very well. Again, thank you for being great advocates for the program. Thank you for stepping into this leadership role. FCCLA, and I was a public school teacher with one of the most influential organizations in our local school and some of the surrounding schools. So I've seen the impact personally on my family and the kids that I got to teach. But you guys those are 3 great representatives. And again, you've done a tremendous job with the program. The national aspect that you've had these state officers step into national role says a lot about Oklahoma's program. And that you guys are doing such a great job that it's obviously being noticed nationally. So that's a credit to you, and you've got some great young people there that represent it well. So I appreciate the presentation and appreciate the work you guys are doing. That's awesome.
Thank you. I will say we have to excuse ourselves. We're headed to the Capitol to get a proclamation for FCCLA Week. So thank you so much for your time, and we appreciate it.
Thanks for being here.
That was excellent. Always love to get these updates. Next, we've got on agenda item 3. I'll turn it over to Director Haken for a discussion review of agency goals.
I'm gonna grab that clicker.
Oh, yep.
I'll see if I can make it work any better. Doubt it. Well, before I get started, the first thing on my bullet points that I was going to talk about when we were doing, just during comments at the beginning, was our Hall of Fame, and I missed it. Gina, you should have yelled something, but you guys probably have seen some press going around. We do have one famous person among us that was inducted, or will be inducted into the CareerTech Hall of Fame, so we want to thank you, Randy, for all that you've done. And we have 6 that will be inducted. Gina, do you have all 6 of those? Okay, why don't you just tell the group those 6.
So we will be inducting our very own Randy Gilbert. Congratulations to you again. And Dr. Tom Friedman, former Francis Tuttle Superintendent. We will be inducting Belter Reed Johnston. She's a former Family Consumer Sciences teacher. Denise Morris. She was also a former FCCLA state advisor and worked at our agency. And Dr. Joe Robinson will be inducted. He spent many years in our system as an administrator and Mr. Jack Stats, also coming to us from the Ag Ed Division, very influential in our statewide ag programs and other things. So we're very excited. Let me make sure I got 6. I did. Awesome. And that banquet will be October 3rd. So please mark your calendars. And we're very excited about our inductees this year.
Thank you, Gina. Gina oversees that process and has a great committee that works, that are people that are currently in or have been in the system. So very good process there. I want to cover some goals just as we're going into legislative session. I think it's important to stay focused on what we're working on. Not that everything is directed toward the legislation, because what we do is a whole lot bigger than that, but I think it's a good time to just focus on where we are and why we're moving forward. So you'll see on the screens in front of you, and I think there is a handout also Ashley has provided of kind of system information. You've seen a lot of this. Again, it's refresher, ask questions. What I wanted to provide is an agenda item where if you had discussion or if you had questions about where we're going and what we're doing, this is a great time to make that happen. That really fits a little better than just during the comments at the open session. So look through there. I'm going to go quickly through this, but educational attainment, career awareness, business and education partnership, and agency operations have been our focus points. And then so we built some goals around those things. You guys know the delivery arms really well. I'm not going to hammer that down, but in these delivery arms are where our goals focus. So I want to make sure that you understand those things as we move forward. I give this information a whole lot. So I want to make sure that you have the same information that every legislator has, the Workforce Commission, anybody else would have, that you are hearing the same things, you are seeing the same things. The enrollment items that we talk about, educational attainment as one of our goals, and where are we going and what are we doing. So when we break those out, and the technology center number, that 21,765, and our 9,875 that are the post-secondary full-time, those are our educational attainment for full-time operations. When we talk about educational attainment and where we are, that's the full-time meat of technology centers alone, just that part. So I know this is confusing, and I want to make sure that we're clear on it as well. Within that enrollment number, that's the 32,000 there, combine those together, we're trying to get to 40,000 over the next 4 years now. It was 5 years when I introduced that. We have halfway through right now. We've already met the same equivalency on the secondary side. We're already at that 21. I think we're just under 765 at 7 something else. That's really good to be there already halfway through the semester. So we won't add that same number because a lot of them carry through the whole semester, but we will add students as we go through that. Our post-secondary full-time numbers on the preliminary side are the number that will change the most in your second semester, because adults can come in and out a lot more flexible than what secondary students can. That number is right around 8,000 now, and so it will continue to increase. So we should, if all things continue the same, increase again. Even though this was a 9.5% increase total enrollment, we should see a jump like that again in the next year. What I will point out on that, ACD, that adult career development, is a significant increase already on preliminary numbers. We're up 28% where we were last year this time. So that number may be significantly larger. That's my hope, that it continues to climb. That is a lot of short-term training that our adults are getting in industry related fields. Primarily, they're focusing on how do I get better, how do I get a new job, how do I get hired, those types of things. So those are really, really good things to see. And I wanted to point that out because as we try to grow secondary enrollments, which has been a very big push right now, is how do we get high school students into these post-secondary opportunities? More and more adults will have to take advantage of ACD rather than the full-time program. So we know that until we get more dollars to increase full-time programs, they're going to have to take short-term side as we divert them. So I wanted to make sure and point that out.
So one of the impressive things about these numbers today are typically when you see the unemployment numbers as low as they are, then our enrollment also goes down. So for our post-secondary enrollment numbers to be good is, shows a lot about the partnerships that CareerTech has in the industry.
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. That's been great. And Superintendent brought up our meetings yesterday with the Senate Education Committee and talking about where we're at, and that was great. I think there was 17 or 18 different agency leaders in that meeting, and we were talking about growth. Our goals that we have are challenging, and so we're pushing really hard to meet those goals. And we know that they're realistic, but they are very challenging. We grew a larger percentage than what we would see in any other post-secondary options in Oklahoma over the last year. We grew by about 3,000 full-time alone, not mentioning the short term. Whereas we're looking at other post-secondary opportunities, they only grew by 3,000 students as well. So we're seeing rapid growth and rapid demand, and we are trying to rise to meet that as quickly as we can. Our skills centers numbers, I want to make sure that you guys are aware. We're working on progress on the building in Veneta, in making sure that we can get that thing moving. And then we are also going to duplicate what we're doing in Veneta at Boley, right, Justin? As soon as we're done moving forward with that building, so that we don't have to wait till construction's final, but getting it rolling, and then, okay, let's start the same thing in Boley to get that prison moving forward. We're trying to get to that goal of 1,750 prisoners that are being trained, so just make sure that we're on the same page there. Part of our request, which we've gone over many times, is adult education, family literacy, and combining that with TANF, what TANF can do, braiding funds together with what it's now OHS can do for us with their federal dollars, and how can we partner together. So we're working really hard to make sure that we can more seamlessly serve students. A large part of that going forward will be in Max's house on the short-term side, that these adults need an opportunity to jump into short-term training so they can advance in their careers or obtain new careers very quickly, because they still have to raise their families while they're doing it. So we know that that's an avenue that we're going to have to go down. We don't have a specific goal right now on the adult education family literacy side, because it would just be a best guess at this point until we get these funds braided, until we come up with a new agreement. Once that's done, then we'll come out with what is our goal, what can we really reach. I don't like guessing. I like to have something that backs it up of what can we actually do. So hopefully that comes forward soon. And you guys ask any questions that you have along the way.
You mind if I chime in here
Yeah.
real quick? I will say from a K-12 perspective, that's one of the things we've been trying to implement more and more of too, is that the adults are getting this training with the children. So all of our tutoring programs, we're embedding that the parents are part of it too. So I'll tell you right there, when they're talking about the population that they are targeting with that, when a parent has better literacy skills, better civics training, it will absolutely impact the entire family, the children of that family. So I think that's one that I appreciate the partnership there. I think that's I just wanted to kind of point out, I mean, I think that impacts their kids directly. As a parent becomes more literate, parent has better civics understanding, that will have a major impact on those children and that family. We're talking about families of high poverty.
And it's all about, no, that's great. It's all about changing the cycle. I mean, how do we stop a negative cycle, and how do we start a new one? So that's the focus of those programs. On our K-12 or PK-12 programs, that just like you heard, that those three officers that presented are part of, they're all high school students. Well, we've got to grow those opportunities as well, so they see what careers are out there, and so they start gaining these leadership skills that we can help provide. We have, right now, we're almost 140,000 students. Off of last year's number, we hope to be at 150,000 students in 4 years. So we have got to do more. We are currently going through the process, and that's Corey's team going through that process of adding programs right now. So we have schools that are coming on board. There's been a lot of talk. I don't know if you guys have heard about it. Pretty exciting for Enid area. They're adding an ag program. I have never had one. I know Roland Peterson, Senator Peterson's been really pumped up about that. He made it kind of his personal mission to get that going, so we're excited for what they're doing. But there's schools all across Oklahoma that are adding programs. So I would be shocked if we're not around 30 schools again adding. And we added 173.5 last year. So really good growth there. We talked about annexations a little bit earlier. Russell gave a great presentation there. This is my less impressive graphic. But it is dramatic. So I can run the art part of my computer. I'm not very good with technology. I taught ag. But we had a lot of fun with talking about Beaver County, and that's exciting. But one of our goals is to increase the coverage that we have. So that's not, we haven't put a quantifying number on what that is, but we've made it our mission. And one of the things that Gina is charged with is meeting with these schools and representatives as they have questions. One thing has been awesome to see, this post that Superintendent Walters was talking about that is on social media has had 90 shares already. And the comments, if you follow those a little bit and read, it's interesting to see people say, how come this is not in my area? They realize when they're in a white space. And that has been fantastic because they have started making calls about what's the process look like, how do we move forward, and that's kind of what Russell's talking about. We're going to drive a campaign that makes sure that everyone has the information that they need. We have to educate them on how they can be a part, what services are available to them. So it's really good to see schools, and not just schools, communities driving the discussion. And that's what happened in Beaver County, is where they collaborated, and actually the county commissioners made the move, made the vote to, hey, we need to have our whole county become a part. So now we are seeing more and more citizens becoming informed and driving the conversation about, I want more post-secondary opportunities for my community. So that's been very, very good. Just a few facts, the did you knows there that a lot of people probably haven't caught. And it was on a slide previously, the 32% of students 5th through 12th grade. That percentage will go up as we drive for 150,000 students. So those will increase. We have got to do more to reach people. I think it's pretty exciting that we have people that would love to see these courses. On the track of graduation requirement bill and why we're working together on reform for graduation requirements, it would allow students to take CareerTech courses and not just be an elective. So the current language that is drafted, that is starting through the process, will treat CareerTech courses as pathway units, not electives. And every student would be required to start picking pathways that they want to be a part of. And so that would be very, very exciting, it would be huge, not just for us, but for people, for the kids to decide, okay, and the parents to decide these are valuable pathways to you. So it will also take our full-time programs in technology centers and let them be used toward graduation requirements instead of being electives. So currently, in the pathways that we have, the core and the college prep work ready, you are allowed 6 electives. Well, we know that in Oklahoma, if I, just like I was, if I take 4 years of athletics, 4 years of ag, now I've got 8 electives. So I wasted 2 credits, basically. So if they were pathway units and those were valuable through the ag courses, then I could probably enroll in a technology center at the same time. Currently, students have a difficult time being in their passionate courses, whether that's orchestra and CareerTech, or that's athletics and CareerTech, or if it's dual CareerTech, if it's ag and I want to be in welding. They have a difficult time. They can't do it all and meet the standards. Well, this shift is what we're pushing for, is where students can be less or and more and. I can do this and something else. So that's what we're kind of pushing for, and I wanted to make sure that you guys are focused on that. They all align with the goals and the visions that we have talked about, and making sure that we're on track for those things. Okay. Some recent changes, and I mentioned some of these earlier, just making sure that we have those written down so that you can see that. Any questions that you guys have? Thoughts or discussion? And there's nothing that we need to decide. I just wanted to make sure that we were all on the same page again.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Yep. I'm good.
If there's no questions or comments for the director on that, I'm going to go ahead and move on. Do appreciate that update, Director. Next, we have management action items. So this will be presented by Miss Gina Hubbard. So I'll go ahead and call her up.
Well, good morning. It's always good to see you guys. I know you're probably about ready to put me on a consent agenda, but I promise we are nearing the finish line in this process. So today what we need to do is go through and adopt the rules that have been shared with you in your packets, and we have to do that by chapter. So I'm going to start with Chapter 1, where we amended the staffing process, and we added complaints and grievances, process to deal with those as it relates to our agency and our technology centers. As I stated last month, we did receive some feedback from some of our technology centers, and so we did make some adjustments in that, and you have the latest version in your packets. So that's chapter 1. So do you guys have any questions? Okay, then we will need a motion.
Yep, so if
Make a
there's.
motion to
Nope.
accept the
Okay.
changes.
Got a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Ashley, do you mind calling roll for us?
Mr. Dillingham?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Miss Wesson?
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes.
Miss Hanning?
Yes.
Mr. Hillary?
Yes.
Mr. Seaman?
Yes.
Superintendent Walters?
Yes. All right, motion passes, so let's take a look at the second rule there.
Okay, we'll move on now to chapter 10, where we updated language in the instructional materials, development and dissemination section. Questions?
I make a motion, we accept this change.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Do you mind calling roll, Ashley?
Mr. Seaman?
Yes.
Mr. Hillary?
Yes.
Miss Hanning?
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes.
Miss Wesson?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Dillingham?
Yes.
Superintendent Walters?
Yes. Motion passes. Can we move on to the next rule there? Chapter 15, looks like.
Yep, chapter 15, this is where we made changes in district status to align with our state statute, and we also provided program definitions for our technology centers.
Move for approval. Second.
Might add a comment here, if you don't mind. The changes made to program definitions, I think, will be pretty instrumental in growth. I don't want us to just surpass over that. We have made sure that schools that can offer course offerings, whereas typically we provide a program as a 3-hour block, half a day. We have changed that definition where they can offer their course onlys to count as a program if they're able to stack those things together. So they're occupational courses that could be taken in sequence. Say that a student doesn't have the option to have a half day, but they could start with a course only, and then they may be able to stack that together later. That's some of the definitions that are in here. We thought it necessary to make some changes to adjust to students' schedules and opportunities that they have. So that's the definitions that you would have in front of you.
Excellent. Ashley, we've got a motion and a second. You mind calling roll for us?
Mr. Dillingham?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Miss Wesson?
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes.
Miss Hanning?
Yes.
Mr. Hillary?
Yes.
Mr. Seaman?
Yes.
Superintendent Walters?
Yes. Motion passes. Let's take a look now at the next rule, which is chapter 20.
In chapter 20, we just updated some language as it related to programs, admissions, operations, enrollment, and length. And we also provided an outline for adjunct instructors. Tech Center program, or CareerTech program.
We approved the adopted changes for Title 780, chapter 20.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. You mind calling roll, Ashley?
Mr. Seaman?
Yes.
Mr. Hillary?
Yes.
Miss Hanning?
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes.
Miss Wesson?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Dillingham?
Yes.
Superintendent Walters?
Yes. Motion passes. So now we're at chapter 35.
Chapter 35, centered around adult education and family literacy, where we just revised the language to align with the grant, the grant requirements for those programs.
Move for approval.
We got a motion and a second. Would you mind calling roll, Ashley?
Mr. Dillingham?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Miss Wesson?
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes.
Miss Hanning?
Yes.
Mr. Hillary?
Yes.
Mr. Seaman?
Yes.
Superintendent Walters?
Yes. Motion passes. I think that's that all the rules, right?
That is it, and I appreciate your patience and your support through this. The next step is to, over the next 10 days, we will be submitting information to the legislators and the governor, and they have a certain amount of time to review those, and hearing nothing, then we'll be able to finally adopt them probably this summer-ish. I'm not sure. I don't remember how long they have, but it's a pretty significant amount of time because of session going on, so.
And will you guys make sure to loop the board in if there is any
Absolutely.
issues with
We'll be
Secretary of
back.
State's
You'll
office?
see me
Right,
again.
Right, right.
Yes, you'll
Yeah, we'll
see
just
me
keep you on the
again.
agenda and just keep bringing it back.
Yes. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your work going through the rules process. There's a lot of work that goes into that, so really appreciate it. It's been a very smooth process, and that's because of your hard work, so I do appreciate that. Next, we have the discussion and possible action on a post-secondary accreditation by Ms. Jessica Ventris. So we'll go ahead and bring her up.
Jessica's unable to be with us today. Sorry, I didn't have my mic on. Jessica's not able to be here. She is ill today, but Chief of Staff, Dr. Lockwood, will take her place and try to do as good a job.
She did text me and say, I'm watching on camera, so don't screw this up.
No pressure.
I'll try my best not to screw this up. On October 24th and 26th of 2023, the Accreditation Division conducted a hybrid accreditation review for Northeast Technology Center in Pryor, Oklahoma, including their Afton, Claremore, and Kansas campuses. The examiner team comprised of 33 examiners and ODTCE staff, including 23 examiners from technology centers. During the review, examiners interviewed 21 stakeholders in various manners, including individual settings and small groups. The examiners evaluated all aspects of the technology center's operations using quality standards approved by this board and listed in the accreditation guidelines published by the Oklahoma Department of Career and Technology Education. These standards address leadership and administration, instruction and training, support services, measurement and analysis, personnel, operations, and system impact. The accreditation staff also conducted technical visits for financial aid and safety before the visit to help staff prepare. Examiners began by reviewing the application the Technology Center submitted. They also interviewed Technology Center administrators, certified and support staff, and students and stakeholders. Stakeholders interviewed included business and industry representatives, community leaders, partner school administrators, and teachers, and parents of students attending the Technology Center. Interviews were conducted in virtual group interviews and individual on-site interviews. Examiners also observed all program areas. If approved, the Technology Center will have 90 days to submit an action plan addressing one opportunity for improvement identified in the report for each of the 6 quality standards. Agency staff will monitor progress toward completion of these continuous improvement actions and plans, provided technical assistance as needed. Examiners found no areas of noncompliance, and we recommend the board grant full accreditation status to Northeast Technology Center. And Superintendent Roger Crutchfield is present, and if the
Would you like to make comments,
If the
Superintendent?
board has any questions, I'll have to answer them, or Mr. Crutchfield either.
Go ahead, Roger.
Just one comment I would have would be, I've been in CareerTech long enough to have experienced the transition of the different models. The key to anything is that we understand what the process is and it's clearly and consistently communicated. And I really believe that you have that at the agency. I just really wanted to compliment. And I know Jessica's on watching, but she was great working with her and with everybody at the state agency, Sandra with financial aid. You just know what the expectations are and you meet those expectations. The process was excellent. We're going to do better for it.
Thank you, Ryan. Anyone of the board have questions of the superintendent or of Justin?
Move for approval.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Do you mind calling roll, Ashley?
Mr. Seaman?
Yes.
Mr. Hillary?
Yes.
Ms. Hanning?
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes.
Ms. Wesson?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Dillingham?
Yes.
Superintendent Walters?
Yes. Motion passes. Congratulations, Superintendent. Appreciate your work. And it's always great to get one of the accreditation feedback reports that look like that. So that's exciting for us to see. We appreciate your work that you're doing for the kids and for the community. But, yep, that's a great report and appreciate your hard work on that. Next on the agenda, we've got a letter that Director Aiken's going to present to us here.
All right, board members, so I added this on after the first draft. It should have been on your final draft that you would have saw this agenda item. So as we're looking at our goals and growth, one of the things that has become aware is that tuition for post-secondary students, that's our adults that come because our high school kids are for free, those tuition rates vary and have not been adjusted in some instances for a very long time. So as a state board, you approve or have the ability to approve tuition for each of those by rule. I think I'm right on that, right, Andrea? So we're going through that with the superintendents. We have a call once a month where we talk, and then we have a meeting once a month about what are the things that are helping and what are the things that are hurting, what are the things that we need to look at. What I want to do with this letter is encourage schools to review the current tuition charged. We want them locally to decide for the programs if that is the right amount of tuition or if there is a review. But my purpose is to support them within our scope of reviewing that tuition, because it's my belief, and only my belief at this time, that there are tuition rates that are too cheap. So, for instance, we still have tuition that is being charged for some of our programs that's below $2 an hour. So that would be offering programs that may have a $10,000 cost to the school, but they may only cost the student $2,000 if it's a $2 tuition and it's a 1,000-hour program, to give you an example. What that does is then it impacts negatively the opportunities that you have to offer to more students, because you didn't value that education as it should be, in my opinion. We have opportunities in this state and federally, great opportunities to take advantage of financial aid, federal, and then Oklahoma's Promise that have been put in place that are fantastic opportunities for students to use. Currently, we're not using those to the full measure of the opportunity that we have by offering a discounted rate of tuition. So we have lots of programs in place where we can offer waivers, and we can use our foundations or local communities to support students that are in need. But I feel like without a review, we're simply not showing the value of our tuition to our adults. This also came about because of a conversation with the governor a year ago where he said if adult students are taking the place of high school students, we need to look at that and see how do we make sure that that's equitable. So this is not directing them to do anything other than review and supporting them in a review of their full-time post-secondary tuition so that we could come up with, ways to help them or ways to evaluate what may be a better option. Questions or comments? And otherwise, I would just like to issue this letter to the superintendents.
So if there's a concern because costs rise.
Yes.
For the programs.
Yeah.
For the technology center to have that program, the cost rise. And by asking them to look, by asking our system to look at the rates, but that also means that CareerTech, post-secondary CareerTech is eligible for scholarships, Oklahoma Promise, Pell Grants.
Mm-hmm. All those.
There's there's lots of opportunities to help we're not saying we're going to raise the cost where you can come into the program.
That's right.
We're saying we want to have a very good program.
Yeah.
We want to be competitive with our system, but also there are funds available to help.
Yep. And so this letter states that we want to maintain a very affordable rate of post-secondary education, and that's priority. But exactly what you're saying, Randy, is what I don't want to do is offer such a discounted rate that because we did that, we have less opportunities to offer more programs. So when you have the opportunity of Pell, and I think Pell is now up to $7,400 per eligible student, and we may be charging $2,000. Well, so currently that student would have all of the extra money on top of that for living expenses. But we may need some of that to help operate the program so we can offer to more students. So how do we make sure that we are being equitable in that? That needs a review. It's not a knee-jerk reaction. It's something that we need to look at. And so that's what I'm encouraging our schools to do, is take a look about what we're offering and can we do a little bit better job of balancing. And some schools are in a better position than others. So that's why we don't have a blanket approval. We want to make sure that they are able to look at their local needs and what they can do. And this would allow a local board. One of the things that I heard from superintendents is that their local board may not be as well versed as what we as school leaders are and what rates are, where we are, what programs are available. It would allow them some support from our state agency to say, okay, maybe we should take a look at what we're doing, and we would be there to assist them if they need to.
Do the superintendents have any kind of goal, this is not going to be the right term, but like of revenue generation? So if we're viewing this as sort of a revenue capture, do they have a
Definitely.
goal, like a percentage, a number, or anything like that, so that they're receiving this letter, but
That,
they
good question, and we want them to come up with that locally. That's why they have local board control, is they need to come up with what opportunities can we offer. The goal that we've put on our schools that they have done a great job with, by the data that we've seen, is you need to grow. We need to turn away less students. We need to have opportunities for students to be a part of our system. So that's the real driving force behind this, and then we have to look at all avenues to make that happen. So we could, to be real blunt, we could stand around all day and put our hand out for the legislature, give us more dollars, but are there ways that we could do that locally? So that's what I'm looking for, is what are the other opportunities? We can't just wait on something to come to us. What are the other opportunities that currently exist? In Oklahoma's Promise and federal financial aid already exist.
So we want to increase the enrollment, but we would also like to potentially increase the amount that we can get from other programs that are funding them already.
Correct.
Great.
So yes, exactly. And I believe we can't increase enrollment until we increase dollars coming in.
Great.
Yep. Yep. Those are great questions.
And frankly, you're not, so this, I mean, just reading through the letter, you're not requiring them to turn something into you.
Nothing.
You're saying, hey, I'd like for you to look at this, and if you want our help,
We'll help
I
you.
understand here that you would help. So there might be, frankly, some folks get this letter and say, hey, we've looked at this for a while, but we'd like to run it through your staff. Okay.
Definitely, and where we could help, I mean, we have a team of people built, as Sandra's here from federal financial aid, that understands that way better than I do. We have teams of people that understand what programs can be offered, so we have those resources we want to make available if they need them, and not forcing them to do anything. But if you need help looking at that, we'll be happy to do that. And there are some schools, just to be real honest, that would like to increase a little bit, but they're afraid to. You know, they don't want to be called out and say, well, you're charging more tuition for people.
Sure.
Because if you go from $1.50 to $2.50, that's a pretty big percentage increase, even though the dollars aren't that much. So sometimes what might be read in the headline is a percentage increase, and they want some backing on that, and I'm willing to do that.
So do you think they're motivated to do it?
Some are and some aren't. Yeah. So I wouldn't say that that's across.
Is there a way maybe we help motivate them? Whoever has the best idea out of all the people.
Well, I think a review would help us come up with a better decision for that, yes. I think there is a way, but we need to, I think it's good for us to study it first. I don't like knee-jerk reactions, so I want to study, make sure that I understand where they are, they understand where we are and how we can help. And I think that's the best way to move forward, is let's study this for a year and see kind of where we are before we start making changes. But I think many are motivated, to answer your question, and they didn't know what's necessarily what they can do. So sometimes that our rules aren't studied real well, and that's what my goal is, to make sure that they understand what they have the opportunity to do already and how can we help that. So I think we will see from this review and from this encouragement how motivated they are. And then we can make a better decision on, do we need to help motivate?
And possibly share great ideas.
Yes, best practice. That's what we want, is best practice. So, yeah.
When a student comes in and they're looking at their financial aid and what they're doing, do they prioritize using the Pell Grant money, the OLAP money, over local money?
Not everywhere, and that's what I'm moving toward.
So when we were touring, I asked, I don't know if you remember or not, but I asked that question, and the response was, well, we want to save their Pell Grant or their OLAP for college, and I'm kind of torn there, because if it means serving less students.
I'm not torn. I don't like it.
Okay.
So I'll be pretty blunt. I think when we say we want to save it for college, we're saying that career and technical education is not as valuable. And I think that's a mistake.
I just hear we serve less kids and
Yes.
less students, so
Yeah.
that's not.
So if we are saving for them to go to college, which is, I want kids to go to college. I went several times, but I want them to see that our education is just as valuable to change lives. So that needs to be a priority for everybody, and I want that message very clear. So that's where I'm not torn, is that I'm all for more education. More education is great. I think educational attainment equals our state moving forward, but our education is just as important as any education.
Well, and if you're helping a child go through, or a student go through CareerTech and then they get college, it's like double dipping to me, like one way or the other. Pick and choose one, and let's help them do that.
Or they may, for instance, if they're an HVAC technician, they may do that for a while, and then they may say, I could probably run my own business. And they may take some business classes and learn that. So that's great too. So I don't want to ever close the door on somebody. What I want to do is expand what we can offer. We know of our graduates from high school each year, there's nearly 10,000 that don't make a choice either way, post-secondary, and we've got to change that.
Do the superintendents submit budgets to you?
So they submit, we collect their budgets, yes, they don't have to submit those. We can gather that estimate of needs from everyone, so we do gather those. And also, we review their tuition each year, so all that physical information does come to us.
But you do it. Do they also do it?
Do they also do?
The reason that I'm asking is, again, a question of motivation. If they're submitting a budget to you, but they're also reviewing their own, like, incoming funds from different areas, if they are, for instance, submitting an increase in their budget, that would be a motivator.
So we dictate what we would turn out to them. They don't request from us. Does that help make sense? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so our formula does that currently. So program funding is based through a formula, and if we get an increase, we will likely bring to you a new formula. So they can't request for that. They just get allotted.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that answers your question.
And then some of their local generated
Yes.
funds are statutorily driven.
Yes.
They have, they have strings on them.
Building fund versus general, yeah.
Some of the money that comes in is tied to building fund, and that's where it has to stay.
Yes.
So this is about tuition that goes into the general fund.
Yes.
That allows you to expand the program.
Yeah. So it's about providing them opportunities. And one thing that I'm not here to ever do is to dictate what every school has to do, because they know best. I do believe that. But if they have questions or if we need to share best practices, that's what the way I would like to handle that is, hey, here's some ideas. Here's some things that you could do that would help. All of our school leaders have been very open to how do we grow? What do we do? They've been, to answer the question about motivation, very motivated to want to do more. So I've never seen anyone that didn't want to do more, didn't want to serve more students. But if we can share best practices across our system, it helps everybody get better. Yeah.
Great.
Yep. Awesome. So I'd recommend to approve the letter if so fit by the board.
So moved.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Ashley, do you mind calling roll?
Mr. Dillingham?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Wesson?
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes.
Ms. Hanning?
Yes.
Mr. Hillary?
Yes.
Mr. Seaman?
Yes.
Superintendent Walters?
Yes. Motion passes. Guys, that's it for the agenda. Unless I missed anything, Director?
Nope, that's it.
Do we have a motion for an adjournment?
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. You mind calling roll one more time, Ashley?
Mr. Dillingham?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Wesson?
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes.
Ms. Hanning?
Yes.
Mr. Hillary?
Yes.
Mr. Seaman?
Yes.
Superintendent Walters?
Yes. All right. Thanks, everyone, for being here today. We're adjourned.
Shay, you going to start your stuffed animal collection?
Oh my gosh, I was thinking that. I'm like, this is the perfect size. Yes. Oh, boy.
I think so. Yeah, yeah. I don't know.